Hello, my name is Ann Mays, and I'm a parent of a deaf son who is in the workforce. He communicates with coworkers using some speech, texting, computer, and has an occupational communication assistant slash job coach who also supports him on the job. This section of the discussion guide helps parents and other IEP team members to think about the needs for deaf and hard of hearing students with co-occurring disabilities. It can be difficult for IEP teams to figure out how to address language and communication needs. Disabilities may include those such as cognitive delay, vision loss or blindness, and challenges on the autism spectrum, to name a few. Students may need other communication support. Sign language might not be enough, and objects, pictures, or printed words might be needed. The prompts help teams to think about many different approaches, and the list is not all that may be available. Technology is continuing to develop and change. Co-occurring disabilities means that a student has two or more disabilities at the same time. For example, many children with Down syndrome have conductive hearing loss, which may be caused by frequent ear infections, including glue ear, because middle ear fluid does not drain well. They may also have difficulty with speech because of the physical structures in the mouth. Sometimes students are already enrolled in site-based classrooms for deaf and hard of hearing learners or schools, and disabilities are identified. In other instances, students are already identified with a different disability, such as cognitive delay, and a hearing loss is found later through medical tracking of numerous ear infections or auditory brainstem response testing. Team members must consider how deafness or hearing loss impacts the student's ability to understand communication in the classroom. Information can be gathered from several sources. For example, many students who are deaf or have had significant hearing loss and have cognitive delays or disabilities that affect signing or speech do not benefit from using traditional augmentative systems. For example, Dynavox machines that show pictures and then have spoken sentences come out will not give clear access to spoken words or phrases. The process becomes a picture-pointing activity because students cannot hear the speech connected to pictures. Augmentative systems may need to be adapted to have sign language output with the use of an iPad apps or other systems may need to be found. Discussion prompts included in this section help IEP teams to think about data that can be collected, access to communication in the classroom, and if sign language is used, if there are fluent models. Some students may need to be moved to programs for deaf students with additional disabilities. so that they experience immersion in a visual language. Sometimes deaf and hard of hearing students with additional disabilities have behavior challenges that are reduced when they can see a visual language all day. For other students already in programs for deaf students using ASL, they may need objects, pictures, or written words matched with signs. Teams should also be cautious not to determine language of instruction based on the student's fine motor skills. For example, some students may have a physical disability which makes it difficult for them to produce signs accurately, but they are able to approximate hand shapes and placement. They may be able to understand signs, but have trouble doing them. It is important that teams consider communication access for all students. Children understand more words before they say or speak words to others. It is important that people remember it may take more time and more exposure before children with disabilities make their first signs or say their first words. If it takes a child who does not have cognitive delays 1 year to sign or say her first word, it may take longer for a child with additional challenges. This means teams may need to consider allowing more time for language to develop before deciding to switch methods and systems. I hope this section of the discussion guide helps parents and teachers and other professionals understand some of the challenges deaf and hard of hearing students with disabilities may have, and gives them prompts to consider to help make a strong plan. Review the resource list on page 14 of the guide